Hello everybody, welcome to Verbling. My name is Hamish, and in this hour we are going to look at practicing questions and answers that you might well get if you have a job interview with an English-speaking company, and that's to say an English-speaking company that is based in your home country, or perhaps an interview you have with an English company in the United States or the UK. And of course you might have that interview in their office, or you might have that interview on the telephone or on Skype, kind of, or maybe in a Google Hangout, just the same way we are now. Very important to practice and to think about and consider the kinds of questions that they are going to ask, and of course the kinds of answers you're going to give. And these, if you're well prepared for an interview like this, these are going to be interviews that give them specific information, that give them good examples about your skills and experiences, your character, your working style, and of course information about, well, why you want the job, and about your career and your professional career goals, so they can get a good idea of the kind of person and the great kind of person that you are, and that you make it easy for them. You make it easier for them to understand you, but also easier for them to decide that you're the right person for them. So hey, these first 2 minutes, by the way, are for Verbling Premium users. So if you want to make sure that you get a spot at your favorite classes, please take out that premium membership, and then in those first 2 minutes you'll get a chance to reserve your place at the table. I see we have some premium users right now, so let me go and say hello to them. First of all, let me say hello to Andrew. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Hamish. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
Tell me, remind me, where are you from, Andrew?
I'm from Russia.
Yeah. Are you in Moscow?
No, I live in far east of Russia.
I'm so excited to have a student from Russia who's not in Moscow.
No, not from Moscow. Yeah.
It never happens. That never happens. I'm so glad. Welcome to Verbling.
Thank you.
Tell me, is spring in the air? Are you getting better weather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not actually. It was overcasting all day, and the temperature is about 2 to 4 degrees above zero.
All right. Okay. So yeah. So it's not hot then. No, it's still still a little bit cold. Well, I won't tell you what the temperature is here in Tennessee, and I'm not going to show you the beautiful blue sky outside my window, because that is just cruel. I think cruel to show you that. So let's not do that.
Lucky you.
I know. It's all right. It's all right. But you know what? I get lots of allergies, so it's just terrible for me, really, to be in such a nice, beautiful, warm country at the moment. Andrew, thank you, and welcome to class. I'm really glad that you could join us today. Let me say hello to everybody else here in class, and hey, we'll get started. I see my camera is in a whole different angle now, but that's okay. Welcome back. Badir. Hello, Badir.
Hello.
I hope your connection is good. I know we lost you from class earlier, so
yeah, I lost my connection. I have a problem with the Wi-Fi.
With the Wi-Fi, and of course that happens, absolutely. And I'm sorry you had that technical problem. I hope you can stay with us, because I really want to hear you. I really want to hear you speak in this class. So welcome back. Welcome back. Of course, we're talking job interview questions and answers this time, but I really hope I get a chance to hear you speak here today. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let me go to Liliana. Hello, Liliana.
Hi, Hamish. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Nice to meet you too. How are you?
I am good, thank you. And I'm looking forward to this class because I'm interested in having some English jobs interview.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm in your class.
And that's a very good reason. Welcome to class, Liliana. Are you looking for a new job at the moment?
Yes, I am looking for a job. So I had an interview last year, but I failed.
Okay.
because yes, I'm not as fluent as I want. So that's why I'm working on my fluency now.
Okay,
I'm
and
interested
then,
in your class.
oh no, sure thing. Now tell me, what kind of job, what kind of work do you want to do?
I'm searching for customer agent, customer bilingual agent.
Oh, very good. Okay.
So I like this topic. It's very interesting to me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I look forward to practicing with you, Liliana. Welcome to class. Good to see you here today.
Thank you.
Let me go to Mohammed. Hello, Mohammed. How are you? That's Mohammed. Wait for my screen to catch up. Hello, Mohammed. How are you today?
I'm alright. How about you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Tell me, Mohammed, where are you from?
I'm from Egypt.
All right. Welcome to Verbling. Are you working at the moment? Are you looking for a job?
Actually, yes. I'm looking for a job, and I'm still a student in the Faculty of Commerce.
Oh, Mohammed, I didn't hear that last part. What are you studying at the moment?
Commerce.
Oh, commerce. Okay, got it. Commerce, right? So, what do you want to do? What job do you want when you finish your studies?
Actually, I was a tourist companion while I study, and then my department is accountancy.
Okay.
And I would like to work as accountant. It is my field.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. Well, welcome to class, Mohammed. I'm really glad you could join us, and I look forward to hearing some of your answers today. Let me go to Mustafa. Hello, Mustafa.
Hello, teacher.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Remind me, are you looking for a job at the moment?
Yeah, I can looking for the job.
What kind of job are you looking for?
Engineering, so
Engineering, got it.
yeah.
All right. Welcome back to class, Mustafa. It's good to hear your voice. Thanks for joining us. Slim, hello, welcome. I'm glad you could join us for this class.
Hi.
And Slim, remind me, I have a terrible memory. Are you working or studying at the moment?
Both.
That's why I can't remember.
No, you will really okay. I have finished my how do you say engineering studies, and now I prepare to finish my master's degree. But I am looking for a job. Maybe I will throw a master's degree in the garbage. I didn't like so much studying.
I know. I understand that the feeling when you get to the end of a master's degree, and you do wonder what life is all about. When you're at the end of that, I know. I understand. It was a long time ago for me, but I remember how it feels, Slim. So you have my sympathies. But I'm sure you've done an excellent piece of work. Let me go to is it Vilu? Am I getting that right?
Yes, it's Vilu.
All right, Vilu. Tell me, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Where are you from?
I'm from Estonia.
Estonia. Welcome to Verbling. Tell me, are you working or are you studying right now?
It's my last weeks in university. I'm writing my thesis right now.
Okay. And what? Yeah.
And in spring and in fall, I want to move to England.
Oh, now, why do you want to go to England?
Because I need some time off from Estonia. And last year I was in Brussels doing my traineeship in the European Parliament, and right now, not going. I don't want to go to Australia. I just prefer Europe.
You want to go everywhere. Well, this is very, and I think Brussels is a great experience. I know a lot of people who take that opportunity to visit the Parliament and work in that environment. So when you go to England, what kind of work, what kind of job do you want to do, or are you doing more studying? What's your plan?
Well, right now my thesis is about European security, so I can work in this section, or in a Parliament. I was working with the new Common Agricultural Policy, so I have.
Oh, really? All right, fantastic.
I have 2 fields.
So,
I don't know where.
Okay. Okay. No, I understand. Well, I spent 13 years working in British government, so I wish we could spend the hour talking about that, but of course we can. But very interesting. Your plans are very interesting, and of course I look forward to practicing some of these questions with you, Vilu. So I think they'll be helpful for you. Let me go to Yuri. Hello, Yuri.
Hello, teacher. I'm Yuri from Russia and not from Moscow too.
Oh,
sorry.
come on! 2 in 1 class. I don't understand it. So where in Russia are you, Yuri?
I'm from maybe 300 kilometers from Russia, from Moscow. Sorry.
Oh, right. Okay. So are you south? Are you east? What do you think?
I'm south.
No, I'm looking at my map because, as you know, Russia is kind of big. So I was looking for you. Yeah. But that's cool.
Maybe if you put your finger in the center of Russia, maybe near this place.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Yuri, tell me, are you working or studying at the moment?
I'm working.
Okay. What do you do?
I'm software developer.
I was a cough. Could you tell me again?
I'm software developer.
Ah, very good. Okay. And are you looking for a new job? Do you want to move?
I'm always looking for a new job. I'm always open for a new perfect offer. Why not?
Very nice. I think a very good attitude. Because there are always changes, and I think the industry you're in is a great example of a business where, yes, we need to keep our eyes open and see what's going on in other
Yes.
You know.
I think in the first day when you got offer and when you came to come to a job, in the first day you must try to find another job. Mm-hmm. You must be always ready to change your job. Why not?
Well, not indeed. I think we will. That's a question I'm going to ask in a different job interview class, actually. But it's a very interesting question. Yuri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I think all those students in Moscow were saying, oh, we can't get into class because the other Russians are in the classroom. It's nice to have students from different parts of Russia. Yes.
If you want, when maybe next month when I will be in Moscow, I can join your class if it helps.
There you go. Because I always ask, how's the weather in Moscow? And now I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up by myself.
In Moscow, I can maybe not.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll find out. I have the power of Google.
It's about 10 degrees. Oh,
yeah.
I can't display you, sorry, because...
Oh, I know. I'm betting it's not that hot right now. It's they had a hard winter there. I know that for sure. Let's get
very sunny, very good.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll check that out when I call Moscow later on, and I'll get a second opinion on that. They always tell me it's terrible weather there, so maybe they're teasing me, but I don't think they are. Let's get started. Now, I want to look, absolutely, of course, at job interview questions. I want to look in particular, and let's see, the name of our hangout. Oh, yes, teamworking. Okay, teamworking. I've got a few questions I could ask you here, but I'd like to hear your ideas, everyone here in the class. What kinds of questions can they ask if they want to find out about teamworking? If they want to know, if they want to work out, okay, is this someone who can work as part of a team? What kinds of questions are they going to ask you?
Do you play football?
If you are a good team player.
They could ask that question. Of course, if they ask you the do you question, well, I guess we're just going to say, sure. Sure, yes I am. Yes I am. Next question, please. How can they ask this question to get more information out of you?
Are you a team player or a team leader? Are you team player or team leader?
Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting question. And of course, depending on the job, they might well ask, are you looking for a job? Are you looking for that position in a team, or do you imagine yourself as perhaps leading a team? For me, the skills and the qualities they look for in a team worker or a team leader, they're not so different, I think. Of course, in most jobs these days, we need to have the ability to work well in a team. In most jobs, we can't just work by ourselves and produce things. There are still some jobs like that, of course there are, but in a lot of jobs these days, more and more, we need to demonstrate that we're able and that we have the skills and the qualities to be able to work well with other people and to get on with other people and get results with other people. So if they're wanting to know about these things, I think the kinds of language, because here we are in the Verbling English class, they're not going to ask so much "do you" or "are you." They're going to say, well, hey, give me an example, yeah, or tell me about a time when. Right. So they're looking for a story, and so for example, it could be, well, give me a story of when you worked with a difficult team. Can you tell me about a time when you were working in a difficult team and you were able to help fix those problems? Or tell me about a time you started work in a new job and you didn't get on with someone. You had a very bad relationship. Tell me about a time when you improved that working relationship, or when you solved a problem with another team member. Because the truth is, I mean, another question for you, when we go to work for a company, whether it's 20 people or 20,000 people, are we going to be friends with every single person in that company?
No, never. It's impossible.
My thoughts exactly. It is, and not because they're bad people or because we're bad people. We're just different, right?
Yeah.
So, we can't. Go on.
Sorry to interrupt you, teacher, but also we have to be patient in the company with all workers. It doesn't matter can we work as a teams, players, or just on our own. So can I say like that?
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to adapt yourself to the job environment, because you work there, so you have to change something of your behavior to work in a good environment.
I think that's a fantastic point. I appreciate that point from both of you, and we know if we go to work for a company, it's not up to them to change their working style, especially if it's 20,000 people. It's up to us either to demonstrate that we will fit in, and that's really, I mean, the fundamental question about team working is this: will you fit in? Will you be a good fit? Will you match the other people, the other working styles in this organization? And they're not going to ask that question out loud. Will you fit in? It's way too direct. I've never heard anyone ask me that question. I've never used that question out loud in a job interview, but they want to know, right? They want to know just the same way they want to know, can you do the job? Do you want? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But can you like answer with this kind of question? Yes, I will. I think I will fit in, and I think I will be good. Or like something like that.
Of course. Well, they want your answer. They want to know will you fit in. They're just not going to ask that direct question because it's too much. I mean, if you're looking for a sales job, if you're looking for a job that needs a very strong, assertive, maybe even aggressive personality, maybe they'll ask you some strong, aggressive questions, and one of them would be, hey, are you going to fit in here? That's very direct, and for most people that would be, whoa, too much. but they want to know. So they're going to ask the question in a different way. And so that could be a question about teamwork. It could be, you know, what do you do when you don't get on well with someone? What do you do if there's someone who, hey, who won't answer your emails, who won't speak to you on the phone, who says they'll do something but then doesn't do it? These are really questions about, you know, can you communicate with different kinds of people? Can you adjust your communication style to deal with difficult people and get the best results out of them? It's all these kinds of questions. All of this is about will you fit in. So they could ask you 4 or 5 different questions, but really the thing they're wondering about in their back of their head is, okay, is he going to fit in? Is she going to fit in with this company? And it is for us to fit in with them. We can't turn around and say, okay, I think I need to see some changes here in this organization. That's just not going to happen for you. The truth is, in a job interview, well, let me look. I mean, imagine this is my CV or my resume. What do we have on our CV and resume? What's on there? What information's on that?
Personal information.
Mm-hmm. For example,
your formation, what did you study, and also your experience professional. Where did you work? What type of experience do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Are you or like what's the specialty of you, or is it customer service, or did you work in industry or something like that?
I think what is your skills or your strength?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so it's going to have all those things. Exactly right. But better than I could have put that. I think very nicely explained. If it has all this information, if it has skills, experience, work history, current job, education, what's the interview for then? Because if you've already given them all this stuff, so what else do they need to know about you? What's the point of the interview?
To prove if all of you wrote on your CV is true.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't main point, guys. I'm sure that the most of CV, the most of manager and chiefs don't read CV. They read CV 1 or 2 seconds. Oh, okay. This man for maybe this man for our company. They invited to interview. Okay. On the interview, they try to understand, try to feel, is this person a good team worker? Is it a person good for their team?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about your skills, really.
Yes,
it's about your mind, about your personality, about your characters, about your behaviors, about about your expression. Interview, it's only about your expression. You can be new in this sphere. For example, you can be only graduate. You only graduate from university, and you came to interview. You don't know. You know nothing. You really after university. You know nothing. You're green, but. They want to feel that from this person after sometimes after month, 2 months, maybe 1 year, we can get a good professional.
Mm-hmm.
CV, it is only it's only handle. It's only small notes. It's only your sign that you want to get this job. I make this point, and this point, and nothing more, guys.
You've got a number of points there, Yuri. So let me try and respond to a couple of them. I would certainly agree that this resume, the point of the CV or the resume, is its job is to get you the interview. And if you get that interview, well, you know, if they didn't think your skills and experience were good enough, you're not going to be sitting there. So if you are at an interview on Skype, on the phone, or in person, you must have an opportunity to get this job. And if they already have the information about skills and experience, yes, they are looking for other things. I've watched a few software developer type job interviews over the last few months, because I've been helping students in that business prepare for job interviews and be successful in those job interviews. And I know those interviews can be very heavy on technical questions. Yes. And they were absolutely asking you specific points, and these are questions I'm glad to hear as an example, because I'm not a software developer, so it helps me know the kind of questions that they can ask in your field. And so they can be very technical. But you're right. I mean, Yuri makes a good point, and others have made a good point. They are looking for, they need to see you. They need to hear you. They need to see you speak, and your body language, your expression, and your passion as well for the business. If you can't be passionate about a job in a job interview, there's no way you can be passionate getting that job and starting on Monday morning. So they want to see that enthusiasm. They need to show that you need to show that you want that job, but you also have a good reason for that job as well. And they want to see that you are a good fit. And sometimes, I mean, you made an interesting point about perhaps the person interviewing you has spent maybe 2 seconds looking at that resume or CV. And that's true. Sometimes that's true. It depends. Of course, it depends who's giving the interview. And I just wanted to add one more point here. I know I'm to be yakking on here, but it's important to remember that sometimes the person interviewing you is your future boss, potentially. And that person, maybe they don't have time to look at these resumes. Maybe they just want to have the conversation, then they'll base their views on that. So yeah, maybe they just went, okay, fine, and now I'm ready. They only found out 5 minutes ago they were giving you the interview. That's a different kind of interview. But other times, they'll have professional human resources people who it's their job to interview people for a larger company. And trust me, they have gone through that resume very carefully, and they will expect you to defend and to speak to any point in this resume. Absolutely. So we can have different kinds of interviews depending on the job and the business, but also depending on the interviewer as well. Sometimes you get a very professional interviewer, and that can be great because their job is to get the best out of you. They want you to be the right person, right? Sometimes you get someone who is just not well trained or not prepared, and we need to help them a little bit more get to the things we need to talk about.
Hamish, can I ask you something?
Of course you can.
The last interview that I had, the interviewer asked me about this question. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah. And what did you say?
Someone told me that maybe you have to say something short about your family, or if you're
about yourself.
If you live, yes, about yourself. If you live with your family, like in short words. And then I don't know if you can talk about your strength in the previous job. So that's why I'm interested in knowing what is the right answer to this question.
First of all, I'm really glad you asked me that question, because that is the first question on my list of teamworking questions, and I put it in with teamworking because this is a what do you like? What do you like kind of question, and this is the most common question in an English-speaking job interview. I've asked it more times than I can remember in a job interview, and I've been asked it in maybe 99% of the job interviews I've had. I've been asked that question, so I've certainly learned to make sure I have a good answer. Before we can answer that question, what are they looking for? I mean, that question is so wide. Yes. Tell me about yours. We could say anything. In theory, we could talk about our garden. We could talk about the shopping we did at the weekend. So, and this is for everybody. What are they looking for? Why are they asking that question?
No.
Because
Yuri,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Because HRs they want to understand can this person work in our company? Who is this person? Again, CV it's only paper, nothing more, and it is good question for understand characters, to understand you can say about your habits, your friends, your family, and each of HRs they are very good psychologists.
Psychologists, sure.
Psychologists, and they can feel in very small words. It's maybe not very important for you. It's not important for you, but it's very important for psychologists, and they can understand. Are you good team worker? Are you good? Are you the best? Are you ready for this job? It's maybe a different job. Really, are you ready for this job? And it is a good question for them. Guys, if you want to have a good interview, try to write down 10 as a favorite question on job interview. Try to Google it. It's really very easy questions. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about you after 5 years. Tell me about your pets. It's favorite question, but you must be ready to get a good answer.
Yuri, thank you for that, and of course I agree 100% that we need to prepare for these types of questions, because a question like "tell me about yourself" or yes, where do you see yourself? I mean, where in 2 years or 5 years time? These are very common questions that could be asked for a teacher, an engineer, a software developer, a lawyer, an economist, really anything. Because especially that "tell me about yourself." When do they ask you? I mean, they ask that question. English-speaking companies, my goodness, they ask you. They say, "Tell me about yourself." In most interviews for most jobs, if the interview lasts half an hour, 30 minutes, where do they ask this question? Tell me about yourself.
In the first, I think it's in the first of its structure of the interview.
Absolutely right, Badir.
Yes,
absolutely right.
First question.
Yeah.
So you should focus in your relevant, like customer service job experience or engineering job experience, and you should try it short, because this is just a question of the structure of the conversation, and
interesting.
And you do not reveal information that you do not want for your future employer to know it.
I think they like to have a general idea about you in short words. No, I think we can expand ourselves telling about our habits or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, and I think I would. When I think of this question, then the good answers that I've heard in my experience interviewing people, and when I know I've given a good answer, and of course when I've given a bad answer to this question, I'm very well prepared now to give an answer to this question, because I've been doing this and I've been in the in working age for a long time, and I've had a lot of job interviews. So with this question, you're right. It comes at the start of the interview. And they want to know about you. They also want to hear you speak as well. And when we think of having an interview with English as a second language, this is your first big chance to do that warm up, to get speaking, and that they'll be able to hear your voice and get to understand you. And of course we know with English as a second language, well, it won't be your first language, but also very commonly it's not their first language either. So you could easily have a job interview in English with a German speaker, speaking English or French or Italian or Spanish. If you don't share the same first language, they'll very likely use English to carry out that interview. So there's a chance for you to hear them speaking when they say, "Oh, welcome to this interview. Is the sound okay?" All those things. You can get used to their accent, and to be honest, they can get used to yours as well. So they give you this first question, especially I think in an English as a second language interview, just to hear you speak and to give you a chance to give that answer. Now,
focus in English.
Absolutely, and tell me about yourself. You could talk about anything, and when I think about that, if I think, okay, I can tell them anything right now about myself, I am going to focus on the things I want them to know about me. And in terms of them deciding to give me the job, I'm not going to talk about hobbies. If they ask me about hobbies, sure, I'll tell them about those. I'm happy to do that, and I'll make sure I'm prepared to talk about that. But that's not the biggest thing for them. The biggest thing for them is, can you do the job? Do you want the job? And of course, will you fit in, right? So I need to talk about those things. So if I know this question's coming up, and my goodness, it's coming up, right? They're going to ask you, or something like, tell me about yourself. You have an opportunity to plan an answer which talks about the things I'm best at. And of course, those are going to be the things they want in their job, because you looked at the job application or the job specifications, you've done your homework. So here's the things I'm good at, here's the things I've done, my work experience, and this is why I want the job. Okay, so here's what I'm good at, my skills and experience, my work history, and why I want the job. And of course, and again, you did your homework. You've learned about the company. You know that this is a good company with good products or good reviews. It's a company that develops its staff well, for example, or maybe it's a company with a good, strong financial base. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Oh, I see you're in really good shape financially. I want to work for a company that is sound, that has a good future." There's nothing wrong with saying something like that, because it's just another way to say, I'm professional. I'm taking this interview seriously, and I've checked your company out before I took this interview to make sure that I really wanted the job. So you've got a few things there. You know, here's what I'm good at. Here's what I've done. Oh, and here's what I want to do. Here's the reason I'm sitting here in this interview with you today. And these, in my experience and in my opinion, these are the things you're going to want to cover. You have a great opportunity to give them the reasons for giving you this job. Okay. Of course, if they want to know about your hobby, and of course they might want to know about other parts of your life, about family and all these things. If they want to know, fine, they're going to ask, and that's for you to tell them what you want to tell them about these things. But I think those questions are going to come later on, and if we're not giving good answers in the first half of the interview, they're less and less interested in what kind of hobbies you have. If you give good if you give good answers at the start of the interview, if they think you're a likely candidate, if they're warming to you, if they like the information you're giving, the good evidence you're giving, well, then they're thinking to themselves, okay, he's got the skill, he or she has the skills and experience. I think they'll fit in well with us. Oh, they clearly want the job. Okay, let's just check to see that they're the whole package. Let's just make sure they do something fun on the weekends, that they don't think about the job 24/7. So yeah, the hobby question could come up, but it's coming up later on. The first thing they want to know is, can you do the job? Do you want the job? Are you going to fit in with the company? So let's take that chance to talk about those things in our first answer. And my goodness, with a strong, confident answer like that, it's a great start to an interview. And of course, it means then they'll ask you things about things you are good at. If you talk about your best skills, your greatest strengths, if that's the last thing they hear, it's only natural for them to say, "Oh, well, tell me more about that," or "Can you give me an example when you showed those great skills?" And of course, you're going to be able to tell them because you did those things and you prepared well for the interview, right? So yeah, tell me about yourself. It's a very common question. It's a question that you must prepare for, absolutely. And it's a great start to an interview when you give a good, strong, clear answer, and not, as I've just done for 10 minutes, but keep it for about one minute, 1 minute and a half, because anything more than that, it's just impossible. Impossible for them to remember that. Yeah.
Sorry, I have another question. How can I do to avoid the fillers in an interview? Because fillers is like and when you while you are thinking.
Well, that's natural. And I'm doing it right now because I'm thinking, oh, what's the answer, right? It's natural to hesitate. And if they ask you a question, it's okay to take a moment to think about that. All that it shows, if you take a moment to think about it, it shows, first of all, that you listened to the question. If I ask someone a question in an interview and bang, they answer just at the second after I finish, that tells me they weren't listening to the rest of the question, because there's no way you can be that quick unless you decide, oh, okay, I know what he's talking about. I'm going to give him this answer. That's no good. You have to listen to the whole thing, because in an interview they are looking for a direct answer and the right answer to their question. So when they're talking, we're listening. Okay? Absolutely. And when they stop talking and they go ba-ba-da-ba, and you think, oh, take a moment. You can take a few seconds, as show them, thinking, oh, either say, oh, that's a good question, let me think about that, and take that moment. When you're giving your answer, yes, we need to be as fluent as possible. And when we hesitate during an answer, that's a little more difficult, because hesitation in the middle of a sentence or in the middle of an example, that makes it more difficult for the listener to understand what you're talking about. It makes it, and it also it decreases the quality of the answer. So we need to give fluent answers, and we can become better at that by practicing our answers, practicing the kinds of things we want to tell them about. If we have a good example about teamwork, let's think about that example. Let's think, how do we describe that? What was the problem? What did I do? What was the result? And get into that interview ready to give that example to maybe 2 or 3 different questions, depending on what comes up. But when they ask you a question, it's perfectly okay. And in fact, I think it tells them you're taking the question seriously. If you take a moment to think about it, that's only natural. And especially, of course, English is a second language.
Yeah.
They expect it even more to take a little bit more time to think. As long you let them know with your face and your gestures, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking, okay, oh, now I'm ready. Now I'm going to tell you.
But I mean, in the middle of the answer, you say, so maybe we can use other words, like, for example, in other words, while you are thinking, what do you have to say next? Because sometimes it happens to me, because I'm thinking in the word in this period of time. What words I have to use?
Oh, Vilu, yes. What do you think?
Just say, let me think a bit. You have a freedom to say, like, if you're thinking, but hey, you're telling something, and then let me think a bit.
Let me think.
Yeah, just let me think.
That's a good and let's put that in a box, because I agree with Vilo. I think that's a nice one. Let me see if I can spell it.
Sorry, in the end of this match I have a job interview and I'm afraid a little about.
I'm sorry? Tell me again, Betty.
I have a job interview in the end of this match and I'm a little afraid about this interview.
And well, let me finish that point from Liliana and Vilu's advice as well. It's very common, first of all, and I'm as guilty as any native English speaker of giving the ums and the ers, and yeah, no one likes them, but most people do them, as I do it right now. Oh my goodness! Now I'm very aware of my ums. It's very common to do it. We can improve our fluency in a job interview situation by sorry, I'm not sure where that. I'm trying to find the source of this. Oh, there we go. Okay, yes. Thank you. Thanks for the muting there. Yes, of course, we need to keep those microphones off if we're not talking, because otherwise it creates a lot of sound. We can cut down on the ums and the ers simply by preparing answers. And I don't mean scripting answers. I don't mean writing down the whole thing. No, unless we're trained or professional actors, it's going to sound really bad. There's no way we can sound natural if we prepare this word for word. But we absolutely can prepare. Oh, there's my again. We can prepare good answers just by practicing the different parts of our answers. So what's the problem? What was my action? And what was the result? We can prepare that material, and it's going to come more fluently to us. A couple, if you have some ums and ers, it's really not going to hurt that much. They're much more interested in the examples you're giving, in those specific details you're giving to back up your answer. That's what they're listening for. Any of us, of course, can say, oh, well, I'm excellent at working in teams, or I'm very punctual. I have a great attention to detail. I'm very creative. We can say those things, and they mean nothing until we give an example of when we did it, or an example when we demonstrated those skills. So much more important to concentrate on those details, and if there's particular vocabulary we need, to give a clear description of those examples when we've done something good in business, or of course back in our student days as well. We can use those examples. If that's quite recent, we can do that. Much more important to give those clear examples than to than just say good things about us. We need to back it up. We need to back up that evidence. And if we have that clear evidence, that's going to help our confidence. It's also going to help our fluency as well, because we're not struggling so much thinking, okay, well, what do I say? I know we can't predict every single question they ask in an interview. I know that, and that's an impossible task. But we can absolutely be prepared to tell the very best things about us and give the strongest examples and details about our own career, about our current job, and about why we're the best fit, why we're the best candidate for this job as well. We can definitely do our homework and prepare for those things, and that will definitely help our fluency. I mean, Liliana, there is nothing wrong with occasionally stopping halfway and thinking, even just to say, oh, I've forgotten the word. Let me think. And of course, finding another way just to say something. People are going to do that all the time. I mean, especially with English as a second language, of course they are. There's nothing wrong with that. It just, even saying, oh, I've forgotten the word, is an example of communicative ability, right? Because of course, if we just stop halfway through and don't say anything, well, we don't know what's going on. But if we give the interviewer a signal, just to say, oh, hang on, okay, now I'm thinking about this, they're going to give you that time, right? Because they know, they understand, they're sympathetic, they want your information. So if you just ask for a moment just to, okay, collect the thought again, or remember the word, or to find another way to describe something, like any good interviewer is going to give you that time, because they want your stuff, they want your information, they want your evidence. So the better we prepare, the more fluent we're going to be. But no one, we're not television presenters. We're never going to sound perfectly fluid. Even of course a native speaker. You listen to any native speaker, myself included, talking live, and we're going to have some errors. We're going to have some hesitation. But the details, the information, we absolutely want to concentrate on that, on good examples, clear descriptions, so the interviewer knows, this is someone who is professional, this is someone who is prepared, and this is someone who is being honest and real about the things they can do. Because the only person in that room who can give that example is you. If we don't give those examples, if we don't give those details, they've got nothing. They've got nothing. And they might like you. They might be desperate for those examples. If we don't give them, we're not going to get the job, right? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem at all. I'm looking at my... go ahead.
Yeah, I actually did an interview a few days ago, and it was in English. So they don't care so much about my English. You see, my English is not so good. I'm not fluent in English, but they don't care so much. They care about, they ask me some question about my information. They know I'm graduated from college just a few months ago. So they just focus about hobbies, what I want to be, my information in college, some scientific questions. Yeah, so they don't care so much about English because most companies give a training program after they accept you or any person, and in this training program they are also improving your English. One program for improving English.
Okay, Mustafa, and I appreciate that example. And it's a good example of the different levels of English that companies are looking for, depending on the position. If and there of course are a lot of jobs where you just need enough English to explain yourself really and to talk about just those basic things. On the other hand, of course, we can have much more senior positions, or if someone needs, if they want someone to start the job and they need to give presentations, they need to speak to senior clients, or they need to manage a staff which is full of international people, and we need to use English as a common language. These are all examples where they'll be looking for a higher level of English, and of course they're looking for that demonstration within the interview, but also if you have a qualification, if you passed, got a certain test score in English, then that'll be information for them as well. But I would hope, and of course in many of these job advertisements, they're going to be pretty clear about the criteria in terms of English, and that could be, for example, maybe they'll say excellent English speaking skills, or very good English speaking skills, or day-to-day beginner's English, because sometimes the ability to speak English in a job is essential. Sometimes it's something that would be kind of nice, right? So we have essential criteria and we have desirable criteria. And sometimes that's going to be clear in the job advertisement. Sometimes maybe you're not really going to know until the interview. And of course, that could be a question you ask at an interview. If things are going really well and it seems like they want you, there's a question right there to say, well, am I going to need to speak English all the time? What level of English do you need from me? And yes, I know I've certainly heard job interviews where the answer has been, oh, don't worry about that too much. We have in-house training, all sorts of things. So the level of English that you require, absolutely, that can be that can be different. We know in some interviews that they're expecting you to demonstrate a high level of English, and that's obviously one of the reasons why the interview is going to be in English as well. But you're right, it can be, Mustafa, you give a good example because it can be different in terms of exactly the things they're looking for.
Yeah, the problem in my interview was when they asked me about what I want to be in the future. Actually, I plan to take my master degree next year, so they don't want that from me. So they tell me that they want me, but I should delay my plan for 5 years.
Right, and you're right. Sometimes I mean, we're going to have to be honest if we have things like that coming up in an interview. Otherwise, we damage that relationship. But if you have, and I want to say this, if you have a good job interview, if you do well, if you prepare, and if you speak well in a job interview, well, there's really three things that can happen. One, they give you the job. Two, they don't give you the job. And number three, well, they don't give you the job, but maybe they give you a call in 6 weeks or 2 months' time and say, we didn't think you were right for that job, but please come back in because we really like you. And maybe there's another job that's come up and you're a good fit. Or maybe they found something, because they want you so much, they found something to fit you, right? And that's especially true in some of those more senior positions. So it's so important to prepare well and do well in these interviews, to do the best that you can, because even if you don't get the job, it's one more piece of job interview experience that you've had. It's one more experience of speaking and answering questions with people in the business that you want to work in. And thirdly, if you do well, that's one more person you've impressed, and one more company person that maybe will call you back in a few weeks' time or send you an email and say, are you still looking for work? Because now we have a position that might be perfect for you. So even if it doesn't work out on the day, doing well in an interview it helps your confidence, and it also, you know, it means there may be more opportunities later on. It's happened to me, and I think of a lot of the people I've worked with in my life. A lot of people, they haven't passed that interview, but because of the performance, because of how well they spoke and what a good interview they gave, it's opened up something else later along the line. So it's you know, whatever happens, we need to make sure that we prepare well and that we speak as well as we can in these interviews, because you never know. You never know what opportunities are going to open up later on because of the performance you give. I would like to continue this class another time, and I'd like to do another one of these next week, because there are some really important questions about team working we haven't gotten to in this hour, and that's fine because you've had some great questions today. That's much better. And there's been some really great questions, some really great suggestions from everyone here as well. Yes?
Can I suggest something?
Of course you can.
For example, if in the next class, because I'm really interested in these classes, if you will ask us about, like an interviewer, you are an interviewer and you ask some questions, some jobs, jobs question interview, because I think it's very important to know how we answer this kind of question. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll tell you what, let's my solemn promise here on Verbling. I'm going to run a class like that next week, okay? So let's do that. Let's keep with these team working questions, okay? And hopefully, I hope some of you will be able to join me next week to do a class like that. Yeah. Let me put my Facebook link in there, and I'm asking you to follow me on Facebook, because every weekend I put up my Verbling schedule. So this weekend I'll put that Verbling schedule up on my Facebook page, and you'll see which days are job interview days, which days are there other classes I'm running on Verbling. Of course, there are lots of great classes on Verbling, but I'm absolutely going to do at least 2 job interview classes next week that we can look at. So we're out of time for this hour. We're going to have other...
Are you going to do more TOEFL classes? TOEFL?
Yes, absolutely. And so there should be 2 TOEFL classes next week as well, because still plenty to practice with those things. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions and answers and conversations. Some really interesting points of view. I was really interested and glad to hear those points. We're out of time, so I've got to go. But again, follow me on Verbling and on Facebook, and thank you so much for participating and speaking today in class. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody, and I really hope to see you again soon, okay?
Have a good day,
Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.